Hey, what's up, everybody? XRP is at $1.73 in the house. Check it out right here. We have some beautiful price action. $1.74. I stand corrected. Let's see if this thing can continue its momentum. I think it will. I just have a little bit of a sneaky suspicion that it will continue its momentum. Why? Well, because we've been talking about it for a long time, and basically, what we see here is everything that we've been talking about playing out right before our eyes. This is history in the making. One of the best looking charts I've ever seen in my life when it comes to crypto. I've stated many times why that is. Many people look at this chart and they think ugly, but I look at it and I think it's beautiful. You ever watch the show American Pickers? You know, Mike and Frank going out there and they're trying to look for antiques. Some people might call it junk, but what they see is dollar signs. And that's kind of how I look at XRP. I think it's not an antique, but it's got a gorgeous chart. The reason why I like it so much is because it is a carbon copy of what it did before, right? This chart right here, this structure right here is the same structure as right here. So when I turn the lights on, you can see it very clearly, right? So that's basically a little bit of a recap here. You know, we got a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, accumulation box 1, box 2, liquidity grab, go. Rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, box 1, box 2, liquidity grab, go. I mean, we've been scouting this for a while and it's looking better than ever. I mean, look at those green candles. They're just charging and charging. And here's the thing. We haven't even begun the move, really, because it's still not in price discovery. This is the equivalent of Bitcoin being at about $15,000. That's insane, right? So remember when Bitcoin, right, it ran up to 20K, it came back down to about 3K, then it went up to 14K, then it came back in its C19 dump, then it sort of charged up. Now it's right around that $15,000 area. If I turn on the lights here, if I turn on, let's see, I go right there, get rid of that. Let me zoom out a little bit. There we go. And then I'm just going to take this here and I'm actually going to zoom out a little bit more because it's so much bigger. There we go. And I can get rid of all of that. There we go. Okay, so you can see very clearly what we got here, right? You got the bull, you got the bear, you got the bull, you got the bear, you got the retrace, right? You come down in this bull flag. This is a little bit different. It's not a bull flag, but it is coming down into reaccumulation, and then you go sideways. You go down, and then you're going sideways. You had a big fat liquidity grab right there. Obviously, that was C19, so, it's one of those things, right? So where Bitcoin is, or where XRP is basically kind of like right in here. You see that right there, right? So then what happened is, look at this big, fat, beautiful breakout. I mean, do you think that's possible? We can get something like that? I do. And that's one of the things that I'm looking for. I've been in 2 bull runs and I did well, but I'm not satisfied. Like, I didn't hit it out of the park. It wasn't a home run. The reason why is, maybe I'll tell this story later. I'll give you a little bit of a glance. The main thing with me was when I got in, I think it was in the summer of 2017, and I got the last 40% of the Bitcoin bull market. But I didn't know anything about crypto or charts even, right? So I basically just bought it and I just held it. And I didn't sell. I didn't take my profit. So basically, I wrote it up and then I wrote it all the way down. And then I'm like, oh, why didn't I, sell it? But I was okay. I'm cool. I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of glad I didn't sell because it's going to be better later. So I continued to buy. But then what I did is I sort of migrated from Bitcoin more to XRP. But here's the cool part, or actually it's not cool, but now it's cool. I got pretty much killed because XRP didn't even get to go on a bull run, right? So the first bull run, I didn't sell. I didn't take my profit. Now, on some things I did. On some things I didn't. But it wasn't it wasn't what I wanted it to be. The second bull run, I said, I'm going to be a lot smarter, right? This is where I learned a lot of technical analysis, right? And things like that, and learning how to trade and things like that. So as I was writing this up, I'm thinking, okay, this is XRP's time. We're going to go to, maybe $10, right? So my biggest holding was in a coin that never went on a bull run. And I'm like, oh my God. I made good money. I did take some profit, but it wasn't like, one of those things where it just, completely trips you out. And that's kind of like, here we are on the third potential bull run, right? And now I'm like, okay, now's my time. Now's my time. Like, I missed it the first time. I missed it the second time. So let's go. So now I have too much XRP, right? And so if anybody deserves it, I think I do, and the XRP community as a whole, because we've been just through hell, right? So I'm not complaining on the last bull run. I did very well in Chainlink. I did very well in DOT, Bitcoin. I did very well in, there was a few other ones out there. I can't think on the top of my head. Obviously XRP. And so what happened was, as we went up, right, I didn't sell. I didn't really want to, I sold a little bit, for my trading, but for my big hodl position, I didn't sell. Why? Because we never broke out, right? So it would be kind of foolish to sell. So what happened was, we crashed all the way down. I'm like, okay, we're back testing in here. But before that, I'm like, well, the lawsuit is the problem, right? Because when we came up here, we came back down, we came up, and that was in a descending triangle. And I'm like, man, I see the writing on the wall. So I took, maybe 20% off, and then bam, we dumped, right? So then I had to endure all of this, right? And it took a lot of faith. It took a lot of conviction, right? Because there were so many reasons why I could have just said, you know what, I'm out of this. I'm not going to get burned again, right? And when I say burned, I didn't really get burned. I mean, I was buying fairly cheap in here, right? So this was actually above a lot of my entries. So, but anyway, once the election occurred in 2021, that's when I decided to sell my house. So I bought a house in 2015. I paid $200,000 for it in California, mind you, and I got a good deal. It was a 2-story house. It was great. And then, I kept it since 2021, and then I saw Joe Biden getting in. I got a little bit scared. Okay, interest rates are going to go up. We're going to have a housing collapse. I got to get out of this house. So the house actually doubled in value from 200,000 all the way up to 420,000. I had a little bit of a roof problem. So I ended up settling for about 415, right around there. But I doubled my money in about 6-7 years. So I was happy. So then I basically was like, okay, I got to keep the money, and I'm just going to sit on it until the interest rates get resolved. Maybe the housing market comes down, but that didn't happen. So now I'm sitting on the cash, and I'm like, XRP is kind of teasing me in here. So, once I started to really reset myself, my emotions and everything, that's when I started taking a little bit of the house money, because that house money, right, I'm not supposed to touch it. I'm supposed to just keep it there. But I'm looking at the inflation. I'm looking at the opportunity. So I ended up taking a little bit of the house money and buying XRP. And now that I look back at it, the amount of money that I sold the house with, right, I'm still waiting. And you go, well, where are you living at? Well, I'm actually living with my wife, with my brother-in-law. I'm living at his house. I'm renting a room from him because my idea here is to just wait and live cheap, right? Me and my wife's rent is pretty cheap, right? We help out with other stuff, but my goal here is to just stack as much money as I can, and then eventually I can finally buy another house, right? So, I'm a trader, and that's how I look at things. I buy a house for 200, it doubles in value in 6 to 7 years. Hey, I'm taking the profit. Now, on the drawback is I don't have a house, right? I'm renting a room, but this room it was actually a game room, and we actually turned it into an actual bedroom. So it's pretty big, and I love it here. It's great, So I'm happy. But at the end of the day, I want my own house, and I'm sure you guys do. Maybe some of you guys own a house. Maybe you guys own an apartment or whatever. I want to own a house. You know what I mean? I think it's time, So I'm really hoping that this plays out, and it's playing out right before my eyes, and I get a little bit teary-eyed because, man, I've been through a lot, and there's some days where I'm just like, man, did I make a big mistake? Because when I sold the house, right, I haven't told anybody this, and I don't know why I'm saying it, but I'm saying it. I felt like I made a great decision, but then once houses kind of started going up a little bit, I'm like, oh man, I don't know, maybe I messed up here, because I can see it from both angles. I'm listening to real estate guys. I'm trying to get into real estate. I'm trying to understand the market. It moves like a dinosaur turd. It's really slow. So I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be worth it or not. But then I think about it and I'm like, well, I got a lot of money here and I got crypto. So if I can just invest a little bit of it, right? Now, here's the thing. Don't sell your house to buy crypto. Trust me, that was not my intention, but it kind of ended up being in a little ways because I felt the opportunity, right? I felt this is what I mean. I felt this was transpiring, right? And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, man, this is just, it's getting really interesting here. So I accumulated. And now I have more XRP than I ever thought I would in my entire life. But there's other parts of the story I'm not going to get into. I ended up losing a lot of it with these. So I got involved with this guy, and he was into these passive income platforms. So you basically earn passive income, and you kind of like recruit people, and I didn't know much about it, but it ended up being a burn, like hardcore burn for me. And I was involved in like 3 or 4 of these things, and one of them worked out very well. The other 3 just totally destroyed me, and I felt like, oh my God, I'm such an idiot. I got burned so bad. I don't even want to tell you the number, but and then what happened after that was I started making bad trades because I felt like, when you lose a lot of money, it changes your mind, it changes your thinking, and it makes you want to try to earn back what you lost. You know what I mean? Like, so you end up making bad decisions. So that's what I did. And then I gotta like, okay, I gotta step back because I'm losing even more money. So this was like in 2022, even like, almost in 2023. So 2023, and the thing is it wasn't bad trades. It was just bad risk management. I was just swinging to the fence too hard. That's what it was. The trade setups were good, but the risk wasn't. And I think that's why I'm kind of telling you guys this story. Maybe someone out there is in a similar situation that I was. Just learn from my mistakes. And the best advice I can give is if you got scammed by somebody, I don't blame the scammer. I don't blame it. And it wasn't a scam. It just, when people stop paying into these platforms, they just die. You know what I mean? Some people can call it a pyramid or a Ponzi or whatever. right? You make money in the beginning, but then you kind of, learn from my mistakes. Don't get involved with that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So when you lose the money, you want to try to make it back faster than possible. And then you end up losing even more money. So maybe there's somebody out there in a similar situation that lost money. Maybe you got liquidated. I've been liquidated and it sucks bad, right? So, when you do that, you got to take a step back, take a breath, and just understand that where you are and reassess everything and know that crypto is a baby, and this baby is going to grow. We see it growing, right? But back then, when Joe Biden's president and you had Elizabeth Warren and you had Gary Gensler, right? I was nervous because I'm like, man, this might not work out because they might bring the hammer down on us. So it took a lot of faith, and I'm so glad that it's starting to pay off here in a big way. So I guess that's my little intro for today. And again, I'm basically saying it because if there's somebody else out there, just know that you got to be patient. You got to be patient. It took I didn't sell the first bull run, and then the second bull run, I made good money, but my biggest holding didn't pay off because it didn't go out on a. So basically, I kind of got screwed on both bull runs in a way. It wasn't my original plan, because when you have a plan and it doesn't work out, the sentiment, that's why you got to keep your expectations in check. My expectations were, this is going to go to the moon. I'm going to be retired and I'll be fine. And it didn't work. And I'm like, man. So now then I sold my house, and then it just kind of got very scary. So I just had to stick with it. And some of those days were very, very depressing, and it was tough. But now I can just take a breath and be like, okay, maybe this is all for a reason. Maybe God did this for a reason. I mean, things happen for reasons, right? And so again, if somebody's out there who's in a similar spot, just think about not tomorrow, not the next day, but think about 5 years down the line, and think about how you can position yourself so that you're successful later on, right? And when I mean 5 years, I mean probably much faster than that, because crypto's flying right now. And I think this thing, is on the verge. I mean, we already got the breakout. We have literally the $2 and the $3 area, and then boom, you're in price discovery, right? And I'm not even talking about Theta, right? Theta was another winner of mine. I made really good money, but I didn't have a big bag, so I wasn't completely, satisfied. But today, I'm not messing around. I know how Theta is going to be. I just have a feeling it's going to be really incredible. And not just Theta, but there's other ones out there as well, right? And then during this time, I had to, basically trading, right? And ended up leaving my job to take care of my son, so that I can also trade trade for a living. So I walked away from a good job so that I can trade. And it started out pretty rough. But then, when push comes to shove and you got to put food on the table, you're going to do whatever it takes. It's interesting how capable a human being can be when you put them in a spot where they have no choice. You know what I mean? Like people who work, they have, if people who have an income, right? They know in their mind they have that money coming. So they don't really, I mean, I'm not saying all people, but in general, their decisions aren't full-blown risk, if you know what I mean. So anyways, that's my little rant for the day. Let's jump in the price. I'll tell you guys the full story even before I got into crypto and how I even got here. It's great. I've had a wild life, and I've been in some pretty dark places. So Maybe one day I'll share that story. But for now, let's take a look at this. So as you guys can see, right, this is looking really good. So there you go. There's the Bitcoin. There's the XRP fractal. That is the equivalent of Bitcoin. Actually, no. It's at 13K. So imagine Bitcoin was at 12,700. Would you buy it? Absolutely. Why? Because today it's 100 grand. So imagine buying XRP with the equivalent of Bitcoin being at 12 grand. You know what I mean? So I think if we do a Fibonacci here, now if you watch this, right, and I just take a fib level and I come all the way down, right, and then I look, where did it go? It basically nearly hit the 4.236, nearly, right? Okay, so if I do the same thing over here, and mind you, Bitcoin is a bigger market cap, so there's no reason why it shouldn't hit it. The 4.236 comes in at $13, right? So that's still, you know, a good 6-7x away there. So I think it's gonna be very, very interesting, especially now that we got the Trump administration. Thank God he won, right? Because now we have more of an incentive to invest. And I think there's going to be some rough times. This is not going to last forever. Once this thing ends, we're going to have a bear market. It doesn't matter who's president. It doesn't matter how good things are. You're going to have a big bear market, and we're going to have to redo it all over again. But thankfully, that's where you really get rich. Not in the bull market, but actually in the bear market. Because that's where you can learn, right? Things aren't so exciting. You can kind of come down and learn more, right? Hone in on your skill. And then also, this is where you plant the seeds. You're planting the seeds in here, right? You're planting the seeds in here so that when you get up here, right, you have a fully grown tree and you can appreciate it. So, but yeah, I think the time, I mean, there's still a lot of opportunities out there. So let's look at some other charts. I know I keep forgetting to look at HBAR, so I'm going to look at it right now. I know people keep asking about it, and I keep forgetting to do it. Let's see here. I want the full chart, the full data here. So let's go right there. Okay, so HBAR is looking great. I don't really like the wave structure a lot. It just kind of reminds me of, I'm just not a fan of these type of bases. But all in all, it's still good. I can appreciate it. The reason why is because I like to say 1 2 1 2, but the only thing I don't like is that this took the low, which is okay. It's not a big deal. But now I can't look at it as a 1 2. I have to look at it possibly as a 1, and this is an expanded flat for a 2. So there's your 1, there's your 2, and now we're going off into the wave 3. That's the only real way to look at it, unless you're bearish, and then you can say this is 3 up, right? And then maybe you got 3 down here, or even 3 down like this, and then you go up for 5. But I don't like that either. So we'll stick with the first one. So I think this is in the third wave. We got some struggles coming up, right? There's some big struggles coming up. Why? Because we're going into the retracement levels here. This is the easiest, and this is the easiest. But this is the hardest, because that's where it's like, you know, luckily we have other assets that we can lean on, because if other assets are getting through, like Bitcoin did, right? Solana's trying to, you know, I think Solana did as well. So why can't other assets? You know what I mean? I think what's going to push Solana over is probably an ETF. I can't imagine Solana not having an ETF. So I think that's really going to kickstart things, because, you know, Bitcoin has its approved, Ethereum has its approved. The next one on the list would be XRP to get it approved. Now, I'm so happy that XRP is closer to $2 before these ETFs are approved, because that will give it ammunition to sort of catapult the price much more than if it was like at 60 cents and then it got approved, right? So getting that ETF actually approved is going to be very interesting ammunition. I'm hoping XRP can get to like, maybe even $4, $5, $6 and then get it approved. You know what I mean? And then that could push it even higher. Or it could be a sell the rumor type thing, or sell the news, right? So the rumor is the ETF is coming, you buy it. And then once the news comes out, no matter where the price is, you sell it. Now, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. We're going to have to look at the wave structure when we get there. But as far as HBAR is concerned, the big spot I'm looking at here is between 40 and 50 cents. If we can get, and that's a long ways away. Well, not too much, but it's still quite a bit of ways away here from where we are right now. I mean, you still got another 200%. Just to get, we have to go up another 200% just to even entertain the idea of a bull run for HBAR, right? Which is actually, you could say that's a bad thing. You can also say it's a good thing. It's a good thing because we have much more percentage, right? We have more to bank. So it's not like we already made it. We're soon to make it. And then you could look at it bad, like, well, it's going to take a lot of time. But I think it should happen quickly if things go according to plan. But yeah, that's basically it for HBAR. I'm looking at this as a wave one. This whole thing is a wave one. Okay. And then we pull back. Here's your wave two. And then here's one of three. Here's two of three. And now we're going up into three of three. So we want this to get way up here, around 40, 50 cents. And then we pull back for, there's your three, there's your four. And then we just totally go crazy for a wave five, potentially hitting anywhere between 90 cents to 225. So once we get to 90 cents, 88, 90 cents, we'll look at the wave structure and then we'll see what's going on. And then we can determine from there the next step, right? Because I like to use trend-based extensions and I don't have that, because what I want to do is I want to take this wave and then I want to bring it down and I want to measure it from the bottom to the top, back down to the bottom, so I can get a much more accurate target here. You know what I mean? So it could be, I can see it going even higher than 225. So where we are right now, there's no reason why this thing cannot hit a 4.236. It's not that big of a market cap. That's a 1,200%. Yeah, that's a good amount. That's more than 10x. So I think it's going to be great. So there's nothing wrong with HBAR. It's getting a little bit extended here. Let's look at the daily chart and let's take a look here. Yeah, this thing just fired like a rocket ship. I mean, it fired way up there. I don't own it. I didn't get in. I do trade it, but I'm not owning it right now. So I'm just kind of, I've owned it a few different times, but I'm just kind of waiting and seeing. I don't mind paying a higher price. As long as I have a better entry, I'm cool with that. The reason why is because this could easily, you have a big one. We could easily come all the way back down here, before going back up. So that's a possibility. I'm not saying that's the case, but, during these bull cycles, during these retracements, you're going to get bloody days, down 10, 15, 20%. It's just going to happen. And that's when I'm going to pounce on HBAR, because I'm sick and tired of people winning on HBAR and I'm sitting here like an idiot without any, I think it's going to do well. I heard about HBAR way back in the day. There's actually, if you guys like HBAR, then you need to watch this. This is the first time I heard about HBAR. I'm going to show you the documentary right now. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to Gold and Silver with Mike Maloney, okay? And I want you guys to watch this series. It is so good, you're not going to believe it. It's really, really good. Let's see if I can find it here. Okay, here it is right here. This, you have to watch. It's not just HBAR, but HBAR was in the documentary, but it's called Hidden Secrets of Money. If you guys like money and you want to know the history of money, just like that other documentary I've always shared, this is another really, this one's actually even better in a way because it's more updated. It keeps you more entertained. I mean, it's really good. So there's 10 episodes, right? And he basically takes you on this incredible journey of money, like how it all plays out, how terrible the banks are, how gold is, so it starts off like money versus currency, 7 stages of an empire, the de-dollarization. This is 11 years ago, and everything he said is playing out today. And again, the banking crisis, inflation, again, 11 years ago, right? So, okay, here it is right here. It's called From Bitcoin to HBAR. This was 6 years ago. I could have bought HBAR I don't even know if it was out. I think it was still in the works during that time. And I'm an idiot. I didn't buy it. I should have bought it the first day it came out, but whatever. But this is it right here. From Bitcoin to HBAR, Hedera hash graph documentary. And then it gets into this. The next one would be Fall of an Empire. Because currency goes all the way back to the Roman days, right? If you're I'm very passionate about crypto and how it works, blockchain, and how money works, how the financial system works. And I've just been digging into this stuff, and that's what kept my conviction during the winter storm of uncertainty. Is these type of documentaries what kept me going, because of the belief that the old system is done with and the new system is coming, right? So again, I might even watch it again. I probably will watching this again. It's 10 episodes. Again, it's really good. Just start with the first one. If you like it, great. If you don't, just don't watch it. I mean, I think it's amazing. So anyways, that was 6 years ago. And I look on this chart and it only goes back to like 2020, right? So this was actually before it was created. So basically, he kind of goes into the HBAR headquarters and he's talking. If you're an HBAR guy, you got to watch it. You have to. I mean, it's legit. He goes in there and he's talking to the guys, and it's really interesting. Hedera Hashgraph is not your ordinary blockchain. It's different. It's the way they do it is different, and it's very interesting. So, anyways, that's HBAR. Pretty much very bullish. So let's keep moving here. I gave you guys the targets, the wave structure count. All right, let's look at SHIB for a minute. Actually, you know what? I want to go to XRP and I want to look at the small time frames here because we didn't do that yet. So the daily RSI is pretty overbought and it's being cooked pretty nicely, and that's good. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. We want it up there. It's showing it's very strong at the moment. There's no bearish divergence, which is good. Let's see. Let's go to the 4-hour chart. So let's recap a little bit here. So yesterday, what did I say? I said this thing is flagging out and it looks like it wants to come up and hit the high. And then I said, let's see what happens from there, because that was the retracement level. We blew past it like nothing. So that's a good thing. So now we can look at this and, you're technically not quite out of the woods yet. Let me see. You're not quite out of the woods yet because it could still be a flat. 1.272. Yeah, you're not quite there yet. It could still be a flat. The reason why is I only have 3. So let's zoom in and let me show you what I mean here. Let's go to the 45-minute chart, 75-minute chart. Okay, so the basic idea here is that you have an impulse and then you have a 3-wave pullback that actually was a double bottom. Perfect. It's done. A, B, C, done. And now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. And we flag out for 2. And now we're getting 3. And then we're going to get 4 and 5. Great. That's what I think. That's what I believe. That's what it should be. Right? The risk is that this could be a flat. The reason why is we have an A. And this whole thing, 1, 2, 3. That could be a B wave, an expanded flat for a wave B. And then you come down for a wave C. It'll most likely be a running flat because of how high it went. And then it kind of does this and goes. So like a rise, crash, retrace that took the top, come back down, reaccumulation, go. Now those are 2 ideas. Which idea do I think it's going to be? I think it's the first one. I think it's a little bit too big for it to be what it is now. So full disclosure, I'm trading it. I took a little bit of profit right here as this, that it got right up to, what was it? I think that was a 702. No, it was a 786. Yeah, we hit the 786. I always take a little bit off the table when we hit the 786 on my micro trades. You just have to, right? Anywhere between the 618 and the 786. So now what we're doing is we came down and we're sort of building a little bit of an accumulation base. So this thing could get going again very easily. Worst case scenario, this turns out to be an A, B, C, right? But we'll see. But right now, man, I couldn't tell you anything more beautiful than, this is going great. This is going exactly how, I love it. It's great. So let's keep it moving. I don't want to jinx it, So here's the big thing. The monthly candle. Dun, dun, dun. This is going to be a big one. This is the monthly candle, and it's ending very, very soon. We got 1 day left, guys. And look at that monthly candle. And what was the goal that I've been talking about in regards to the monthly candle? The number one goal that we can possibly do is close above basically the finish line here of how this is going. If we close above this, which is about $1.60, let me get it right on the dot. So I'll just put it there. So $1.60, all right? If we can close above $1.60, it is game on. Now, how cool would it be if we can close above this guy over here, which is at $2? So in between $1.60 and $2, right? That's the area where, that's going to be the toughest nut to crack. But once we crack it, it's going to be very, very, very interesting, because we've never seen, in the history of crypto, we've never seen a crypto asset break out of a structure like this. There's just not one out there. Not this big. We saw it with Bitcoin in the beginning, the Bitcoin fractal, but that was not even, that was half the size. That was less than half the size. That was only to here. This is a 7-year structure here. So we've never seen a crypto asset break out of a 7-year consolidation / accumulation / launch pad / base. We've never seen it. So we don't even know how big this is really going to be. You know what I mean? So you can see just how big, this was back over here, right? Look how big this is. Now, in percentage terms, it's not going to be as big as that. Because if it was, everybody would be a millionaire, and that's just not possible. I mean, this thing went up 38,000%, okay? So if we went up 38,000%, it's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. 30, that's about $170. I mean, if it happened, you would need some type of event. You would need the Federal Reserve coming out saying, yeah, we're going to use XRP. It's just not going to, I just don't see it. And I'm not trying to say it's not possible. I mean, maybe in the future it's possible, but there's no evidence to suggest that. And it makes me upset when I hear some of these YouTube guys saying, like, I'll give you an example. I don't even care. Look at this. So people like this, and I'm not knocking this guy. I think he's a great guy. I think he's cool. I don't know. I don't even know about him. He's an XRP guy, so I think he's cool. But when he comes out and says, why Ripple will literally go from $1.50 to $100 to $500 in the next 90 days, I comment, I think it's so irresponsible to say that, because you have people who don't know anything about crypto, who are coming into the space because they hear about it and they're buying it and they see these videos. And I mean, you can't even give financial advice, first of all, right? So I don't know why he's even saying that. He's not a chart guy, right? I don't know where he's getting these numbers from. I mean, I'm not knocking him. Maybe you guys are subscribed to him. I think he's, great. But I think it's irresponsible to say that, because there's just no evidence to suggest that. There's just not, right? For me, my channel, I'm using charts. I'm using data. I'm using literal numbers, facts, to get to my numbers, right? And we haven't even gotten to those numbers yet, because we haven't even broken out. We don't have the wave structure to even calculate the waves, except for one wave, right? So anyways, the way I would calculate a target, the only way I can really calculate a target is by I would push you back to that other XRP target video. But essentially, the way you do it here, we only have one wave. So I would take this wave here. I would go up to here. Whoops, that's not the right one. That's the time-based. I'm looking for trend-based. Same thing. You come up here, and then we'll come down. And then that's kind of what I'm looking at here. So I'm looking at about $7.80 for that third wave, right? So if this is a wave one, and if I don't know if it is or not, because it could also be a contracting triangle, A, B, C, D, E, in which case this can't be one. At least I don't think so. But if this is one, this is two, and this is 1, 2, then we can get up here 3, 4, and 5, right? And this whole thing becomes 3. So you have 1, 2, 3. You get up to about $8, and then you get one of these guys. You kind of flag out a little bit, and then maybe you hit 8, 9, 10, 11, up to $15. I think $15, even $20. The highest I'm willing to say is, I'll show you right now, the highest number I'm comfortable putting on the line, and I don't even know if it's possible, but it is possible actually, would be right here. It would be $27. So that's the highest number I can see it going. Now, if it goes higher than that, I will be blown away. I will be just like, whoa, I can't even fathom it. You know what I mean? It's just unbelievable. And maybe, again, we don't know what it's going to be like. This is a 7-year pressure cooker. So maybe $27 is easy. You know what I mean? Maybe it's super easy. But I can't go there because, the fib levels don't lie, right? You also have the market cap. Some people say market cap doesn't matter. It does matter in some ways. In some ways it doesn't matter, right? But that's about it. Now, Dogecoin, Dogecoin hit the 2.272. So that's the equivalent of XRP hitting $262. Basically just say $100, right? Now, if Dogecoin can do it, why can't XRP? The reason is because the differences in market cap. Now, if market cap doesn't mean anything, like some people want to present, maybe they are right. I'm not an expert. I'm just a guy who's learning as I go. I'm a trader. If it's legit, if market cap doesn't, maybe we could hit it. Again, the best way so then it's like, well, then how do you know where to sell? You got to look at the wave structure. You got to look at the small time frames, number one. You got to look at, for example, I like to look at the 4-day chart, right? We got a 1, we got a 2, we're getting 3. Third hasn't stopped yet. So we haven't even stopped yet on the third wave yet. So once this thing stops, and then we get 4, and then we get 5, right? Then I can measure from here to here down to wherever it corrects, and then I can get a much more accurate target. People who give targets way too early, sometimes they're lucky and they hit them, but I'm trying to get an accurate target. And the more accurate you can get, it's just like when you go to the shooting range. Are you going to be accurate at 100 yards? Or are you going to be more accurate at 20 yards? Obviously more accurate at 20 yards because you're closer to the target. So the closer we can get, the more accurate we're going to be. So there's no reason to shoot from, 10 football fields away unless you got a freaking sniper rifle. So anyways, that's XRP, the small time frames. We just looked at it. So it looks great. It's still pumping. Let it get. Oh, look at this. $1.76. We're about to hit $1.80, folks. So we hit $1.77. 1776, Freedom Day. All right. So that's XRP. Let's look at Theta, because Theta also had a beautiful day. Theta. There we go. Oh yeah, look at Theta. We're sitting almost at 240. So it's looking good. And believe me, Theta hasn't even warmed up yet. You haven't seen anything yet with Theta. Again, the reason why it's a little bit choppy, a little bit slow, is because it's working through those resistance levels. Because when you look left, you can see where we are. We're right at this retracement block here, right? Wow, look at that. When you zoom out on Theta, whoa, that's a pretty impressive move there, right? So we're sort of stuck right in here, and when I say stuck, I mean momentarily stuck, right? So I believe once we get through this zone, it's going to be a lot easier, and then the next phase would be getting, let's see, right about in here, about 531 up to about 862, between $5 and $10, let's just say. So here's the thing. You see right here, this area right here is the same exact thing as this area right here, just on the macro scale, right? So, this wave is just retracing this wave, let alone the monster wave that we have yet to embark on, right? And we have to crack that high. The reason why I like Theta a lot, obviously, the utility, everything about it, but the structure of the wave here looks just like Ethereum back in the day. You got that slanted W, right? It's like, imagine a W is going down a San Francisco street, you know what I mean? One of those super inclined roads, and it's just going up and up, right? So, but yeah, I think if we look at the small time frames, and let's look at a little bit of structure here. So the wave structure is a little bit, it kind of looks like a little bit of a wedge here. But look, we're breaking out of that wedge. You know what I mean? So it's actually bullish, right? So we started off and we're kind of like coiling up in here, coiling up. It's kind of like, penting up that energy, and then boom, you're releasing it. So, yeah, I think it's great. I think it's breaking out. Look at that, 240. Let's zoom in to the 30-minute chart. I think it's fantastic, guys. So congratulations, Theta holders. I mean, we're not out of the bag yet, but it's doing so much better than it has been throughout these months and months and months. So let's get it. I want everybody to be happy. So, yeah, let's take a look at the fib levels now. So when we look at the fibs, I mean, we're so early, it's still crazy. You know what I mean? Like, let me put this on. Well, when we look at it on linear or log scale, the big area to get through would be about that $10 area, $10 area. The 702 is around $6. But when you look at it on linear, which is more conservative, the big area we need to get through would be from here to about there. And then the target, again, I'll have much more accurate targets as we get closer to the target. You know what I mean? So from here to there would be a good spot. All right? So then and then at the very top, there's no reason why we can't hit a 4.236 with Theta. I mean, I don't know if it's completely possible because we had such a massive drawdown. I mean, this thing was at $15 and we went all the way down to 57 cents. So to get to $69, that's going to be very difficult, but it wouldn't surprise me. So here's the Theta plan. Once we get here, then we can examine what this wave looks like. And then what we can do is we can measure this wave and then get another target. And then once we get that target, then we can evaluate it and then shoot for another target. So we just got to be patient with our targets. I know people want targets, but these are the targets, which is about between 30 to 40 and 40 to 60. So there you go. I mean, $26 is a good target to have. I mean, that's a big target. I mean, here's the thing about Theta, though. Most of the gains are not going to be made above the all-time high. Most of the gains are going to be made below the all-time high. I'll give you an example. If we go, here's our base right here, right? So I'm going to go from the top of the base all the way to the all-time high. That's 1,300%, okay? So if that's 1,300%. Now, if I take a measurement and I go from the all-time high up to the 4.236, that's only 352, that's only 360%. So the majority of your gains are going to be from now to the all-time high. Once we break the all-time high, the gains, they're going to get a little bit smaller, right? So it's that first beginning part. Now, if you do the whole thing here, I'm just going to go from about an average price, about $1.30, up to 26. You're looking at 1,800%, up to 3,000%, all the way up to 5,000%. Okay? Tell me what other coin has the potential to hit 5,000. XRP cannot hit 5,000%. It just can't. It's just not going to happen. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, but it's just not. Theta has the ability to hit 5,000%. Number one, it's a smaller market cap. Number two, you're in a wave 3. Number 4, basically the wave structure here, this massive, look at this. Look at this wave here. If my chart will let me here. This thing right here is a wave 1. That's a wave 2, right? And now there's no reason why we can't hit that as a wave 3. You know what I mean? So we'll see how it plays out. Now, the most bearish thing Theta can do is go into reaccumulation, just like what XRP did, right? So basically we have a rise, a crash. If this comes up into a retrace, because we have 3 up, right? We come down. If once we get up here, that's going to be 3 waves. And that's going to be a very dangerous spot right up here. Unless this turns into a 4 and a 5. You know what I mean? This is going to be very dangerous because number 1, we're going to flag out for a 4 and get 5, which is what we want. Or number 2, this has to come down into reaccumulation and then go up. So it might take some time to brew in here, you know what I mean? Just like what XRP did, right? XRP came all the way up and it didn't break out. It had to go into this reaccumulation and now it's breaking out. That's why I feel more confident with XRP breaking above its all-time high, because it already went through all the steps, you know? And also Bitcoin, you know, back in the day did as well, right? It also had that reaccumulation structure. So anyways, I think that's good enough for Theta. We'll come back to it and we'll look at some other ones, but everything's looking good so far. You know, Jupiter, you know, is looking great. It's flagging out. I think it's a 1-2. It looks like it's going to continue higher. We'll get some targets. Bohm looks great too. So far, so good. Ethereum, you know, Ethereum's getting a little, it's in a dangerous spot because it's sort of right in this retracement. So it needs to break it. Let's see XLM. I didn't take a look at this one here. XLM looks great. It's a little bit lagging behind XRP, but all due respect, XLM actually went a lot higher than XRP percentage-wise because it got beat up a little bit more. So looking good. Litecoin starting to wake up. Looking good. Render, kind of just trying to see if we can hold some support up here on that channel after bottlenecking, right? I think it's going to continue higher. I think things just need a little bit of time. Let's see, ADA. You know, ADA looks a little bit bearish at the moment. I mean, it could change my mind, but I got 3 down. I got 3 up. So I wouldn't long it here. My thinking is maybe we get 3 back down and then go. Or if it's going to prove itself, it needs to kind of trail, and then break. So those are the 2 options for ADA. I'm not sure what it's going to be. Now let's look at Bitcoin, because I can't believe we missed it. All this altcoin excitement, you know. So remember our fractal, our Bitcoin fractal. Oh, and by the way, I put a free members video. It's Thanksgiving, right? I'm thankful for a lot of things. So I thought, hey, you know what? Here's a free members video. And basically, it's a educational thing on consensus. So hopefully you guys watched it. And basically I said Theta's about to expand. And that was when, you know, now look at Theta. Just a day later, it's pushing, you know, almost to $3, right? We can see the moving averages with Bitcoin has that first leg up. It gets compressed and then it expands. Comes up, gets compressed, and now we expect it to expand here. So definitely watch that video that I did yesterday. I think it's great. So here's the fractal here, right? And you can see how it came all the way up back to here, and then it pulls all the way back down, and then it kind of plays around a little bit, and then it goes, right? So here's my little setup. I actually didn't draw it right. I should have drawn it a little bit higher, But if you take a mental screenshot of that, okay, and now look at this. It's basically the same thing, except we actually went pretty high. I didn't think it was going to go that high. So now, according to the fractal, we should see it come down. According to the fractal, right? We should see it come down like this and do something like this and then go up. So that's what the fractal says. I don't know if it's going to play out like that. It looks, we have 3 waves, right? We got 3 down, we got 3 up, so did ADA. So it just seems to me like it should get at least something like that before going higher. Now, in order for me to change my mind, by the way, we just crossed 1 hour on the video. If you can hit that like button, if you're still with me, congratulations. You're a hardcore, passionate investor, trader, right? So, if it's going to prove itself, it needs to kind of consolidate here. And then it kind of needs to creep, and then push. If we get something like that, we don't have to come back down, obviously. But as it sits now, you know, it's kind of one of those things we just got to wait and see. You know, in order for me to pull the trigger on an altcoin, Bitcoin has to be in the right spot. And right now it's getting there, but it's not quite there yet. Because all I have is 3 waves, right? If I get 3 down and 3 up, or actually it'd be more like 5 down. So we're just going to have to wait and see. So anyway, that's Bitcoin. Theta. Now Theta looks like we have 3 down, we have 3 up, and then it looks like we should get maybe that's done, or maybe it's getting close to being done, but then something like that where it's some kind of flat here. So that looks great. Algo, whoa, what happened to Algo? Algo's waking up here. Algo is waking up for sure. Let me zoom out on that. Hello, good morning or good afternoon. Wow. We came up and we're sort of like bottlenecking in here, and then boom, somebody cracked the bottle open. Damn. I missed that one for sure. So look at that. That's strong, right? Now look at the structure here, right? Boom, 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 and then bam. Now I want to show you, for example, let's look at Filecoin. It's the same thing, except Filecoin is way down here and Algo is way up here. So Algo is a first mover, you know. So, you know, I would have picked Algo over Filecoin, but I picked Filecoin, you know. So it is what it is. But I think Filecoin will eventually follow in its steps. It still looks great. It just needs a little bit more cooking, and then it should be done. So, you know, the video's getting long, so I'm not going to get into too many things. I haven't talked about CRV that much because I'm trading it. I got in, I got out, and I just couldn't get back in. So it just goes to show hodling is the best strategy, right? You know what I mean? So let's see, any other coins? I haven't looked at Monero in a little while. Let's see, Monero. Yeah, just not really beautiful to me at the moment. Let's see, 4-day chart. You know, it's getting there. It's getting there. It's still cheap. You know, I wouldn't mind buying it. I would buy it right now because it's cheap. It's not like, it hasn't broken out yet. It's got this big sort of box in here that I feel like needs to come up into a retracement. So eventually it will. Now look at this. This is what XRP did before it blasted off. It came up here, and then it had an A, B, C, right? It kind of curled over and then exploded. Now let's look at XRP real fast. Take a mental screenshot of that. right? Right here. Look at that. Right there. Same thing. It comes up, has a little bit of a pullback, right? And then bam, it exploded. So yeah, I might buy some Monero just because of that. Just because of that reason. There it is again. You see it? You got the three-way pullback. It's kind of rolling over. All it needs is a couple bids and boom, it's off. So, wow, Monero's a monster. You know, I like it too because it had a shallow retrace. It's got a big base, rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways. This thing is ready, guys. So, you know, I wouldn't put a lot of money in it, but nothing I say is financial advice. But I might buy some just because it hasn't broken out yet. You know what I mean? A lot of things already have. XDC is still rocking. I should have just held it. VeChain. You know, I'm a trader. I get in, I get out, and then I wait for another opportunity. So I haven't had that opportunity completely yet, but I'm still holding a lot of other stuff. Let's see. SHIB. Like, I'm still holding SHIB. Filecoin, Theta, XRP, XLM. Looking good so far. You know, consolidating in here. I want to see it break out. I think it can. The reason why is because remember what we talked about, right? We have 3 down, we have 3 up, and we have 3 back down. And now it's kind of creeping back up. So we have an impulse, and we have a finished 3-wave move. So this doesn't look like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's too big. So to me, it looks like it's creeping up and out. So, you know, I think that'll do it for this video. Others is starting to push. Look at others. Wow. I mean, we're right there, guys. Look at this. We're right there. So, I don't take no days off. I did a video Thanksgiving. I know some people don't, but you know what? I don't edit my videos, so it's easy for me. Basically, it's a live recording. I just do a live video and then I upload it. I don't do any editing. So if I mess up, then oh well. And Neo was an OG back in the day. Looks great. It's pumping. We talked about HBAR. Let's see the DXY. DXY is coming down. That's good. I haven't looked at the stock market in a minute. Look at that. It's all-time highs. What's new? Sealer Network coming up. Yeah, everything's great. So, oh my goodness. I think that's the talk of the town. Look at that. Bitcoin dominance is finally... Somebody call Benjamin Cohen and wake him up from his dream. It's finally happening here. We're finally getting some altcoin dominance coming back to the game. BNB, I don't own BNB, but it looks pretty good. Look at that. It looks really good, actually. Kind of got like something like that there. Yeah, this thing's gonna break out. Just no doubt about it. Just kind of scouting here. I think that's it. There's nothing that catches my eye completely. Ethereum Classic. It's got that nice W shape. I think it's going to break out. It's going to do very well. Tone. This guy got busted for something, but I called BS on it. I didn't think it was going to crash or anything. It had some short-term pain, but it wasn't anything significant. The only new one I got was Niaro. Where's it at? This one. So I got back in on this one right here. The reason why is because if you can see it, you see that? We had that move down, boom. We had that move down, you know? So I got in like somewhere right around there as this thing was pumping up. So I'm holding it, I'm waiting. It looks great. You know, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, and you had a little bit of a base, and then you had that liquidity grab right there, which I really liked. And then you had a 1, 2, and then it pumped up here. So I'm looking at it. Okay, looks great. So I'm expecting it to at least get back up to here. So anyway, that'll do it for this video. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Hit that like, hit subscribe, drop a comment. Let me know what you think. If there's a coin you want me to take a look at, maybe drop it below and I'll take a look at it. But until then, hopefully you guys had a great happy Thanksgiving for those who are in the US and even people abroad. And comment where you're from. If you're outside of the United States, I'm interested to know where you guys are. I've never even been out of the United States. I know. How lame is that? One day I want to. I've just kind of been stuck in this country because, you know, traveling is a lot of money. You know what I mean? And I'm just not quite there yet. But yeah, I definitely, the most beautiful place in the world that I've ever been to was Yellowstone. If you guys have an opportunity, if I'm from another country and I'm going to go to the United States and I'm going to visit somewhere, I would go to Yellowstone. I've been to a lot of places in the United States, many different states, and Yellowstone is by far the most beautiful place I've ever seen in my life. So definitely check that out. But all right, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.